Hello, my name is Alex, and today I would like to show you a method for bench testing sensors of any kind. This just so happens to be from a vehicle, but a way of doing it that maybe you may have not thought of. I think it's very convenient, and if you have this stuff sitting around, it's a pretty easy way to do it. So let me show you the setup. So what I have is I needed to confirm if this 3-wire MAP sensor, MAP means Manifold Absolute Pressure, for those that aren't aware, I needed to test its function and to verify that it was working okay, or if it was bad. I already suspected that this sensor was in good condition because the vehicle it came off of, somebody replaced this and the problem persisted. So I don't think this is the cause of it, but I wanted to confirm that. This is a pretty simple sensor, being that it has only 3 wires to it, a positive, negative, and a signal wire. So what I did is I have a Arduino Uno microcontroller, and since this is a 5-volt sensor, this is what the ECU or PCM or whatever computer your vehicle has. It applies 5-volt signal and works just within that 5-volt range. And what's great about the Arduino is it allows you to supply 5-volt and 3.3-volt, which is great for sensor testing and just building systems with sensors in general, which is something I do for school, but not for automotive work. So what I have here is the Arduino Uno, a very cheap, basic multimeter. That's all you need. The sensor I want to test, and in this case, since we're working with pressure, I have a vacuum gauge. This is vacuum only, it doesn't do positive pressure. If you have one that does positive pressure, that'd be nice if you're testing a MAP sensor. So what I did is I went online and I was able to actually find a diagram for this particular sensor. Then according to that diagram, I hooked up a 5-volt source, a ground from the Arduino, and I hooked up my signal wire to the positive lead of the voltmeter here, and the negative to our common ground, which is back at the Arduino here. And that allows for me to change the pressure and then see what the reading is on this sensor. So here we go. This is at 0. And as you can see, I'm putting vacuum on it, and it's dropping that voltage reading down. And then if you go all the way down, it should start approaching 0 from the way that this sensor is calibrated or set up. So then if we relieve that, it follows. And you can do little small increments. And it seems to be all working correctly. And I've also confirm that it goes in the other direction as well, approaching 5 volts if you put positive pressure on it. So since this is a vacuum pump only, I detached this and just kind of blew into the hose, but it did confirm that adding pressure, positive pressure, raised that voltage value. So I was able to confirm that this is most likely a working sensor, and I can eliminate one possible problem with that. So just wanted to suggest that using an Arduino or some other microcontroller as a quick, easy bench testing power supply for checking sensors. So, yeah. I was going to wrap up the video there. However, I figured someone might want to see this being hooked up, so I thought I'd go ahead and set this up again and show you how to do it. So let's start with this multimeter here. 2 leads, positive and negative. You're going to put the red, the positive, to where you go for reading voltage. Black to common, which is also the ground. Now we're looking to check voltage DC. So I'm going to pick 20, because what we're testing is no higher than 5 volts. So 5 is within the 20 volt range. I used some jumper wires. These are male to male, and this jumper wire set female to female. That's how I was able to get on the pins of this sensor. I have the Arduino here with a power cord. This is just a USB cord plugged into a brick. I have some jumper wires, alligator clip ones, and finally the vacuum tester. So first off, I'm going to start by hooking up this sensor to the female-to-female wires according to the diagram. Alright, there it is. I've deliberately chosen these colors. I have green for ground, the purple is the supply voltage, and blue for signal. Next we'll move to the Arduino. So right there is 5 volt right there, and these 2 pins are ground. So we'll set up a ground connection and 5 volt. Then we connect the sensor. That's power ground only. That goes to our meter. So now we want to ground our meter. Negative. And hook it up to that same ground point. Now we're ready to hook up the sensor wire to the meter positive. Now we're all set to measure. All we got to do is supply our pressure source and then plug this in. And we're ready to run.